Well, hey everybody, backyard scrapping here. We're actually picking up, starting this video. Like I said in the last video, we were going to start this one showing how I'm going to do these Mylars. I actually did get my chores done, so I'm still dissolving the rest of those contacts. They're finishing up on the other bench. That's why I've got the fan going. The back fan is, you can hear it's noisy. But I got to have something to make sure that stuff stays away from me. Anyway, I've got our nitric acid mixed up. When you do this, this is actually generating a reaction. This is pretty warm. And I'm using distilled water that I bought at Walmart. But I don't know exactly how distilled it is because I don't know. I mean, it says distilled water on it. I'm assuming it is. I didn't get a major reaction, but it is warm. So mixing my 50-50 solution here did generate some heat. So I'm actually just going to let it sit for a little while till it cools off. But then what we're going to actually do, and as you can see, I'm going to do this standing up. I'm going to sit down periodically and take a break. But I also have that back fan going, so it's a little, see that? So I'm going to have to move the fan in front of me so that we don't have that. But we're just going to dip these down in here. We're going to let the silver come off of them. Then we're going to dip them in this jar, rinse them, and then put them over here in this tub. But obviously we can't do that with that fan. So let me get finished set up, get things moved around a little bit. What I may actually do is take these rest of these contacts and just set them out on the scrap table. That way I don't have to have this fan running. So let me get that set up and then we'll get back to starting on doing these. And I'll show you the process. I'm not going to sit here for the whole time and do it because it's going to take a long time to do that. Also, if you do this and you're going to sit down, make sure you're sitting like away. I mean, anything could happen. You could knock this over, or bump it, and then you're going to have, dilute nitric acid going everywhere. So just be really careful, alrighty? We'll get back at you in just a second. Okay, guys, we got stuff rearranged. I got this where this fan isn't blowing directly on this. Got our other stuff out on the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. And basically it just involves just dipping them down in there like that, and leaving them set for a minute. And seeing what kind of a reaction we get out of them. And on this white stuff, this white looking stuff, it appears to be double-sided. I'm not positive, but I'm not seeing a heck of a strong reaction on that. But we'll leave it in there for a second and see what happens. Normally I see a much faster reaction. Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. It got some. It's getting some. So we're just gonna let that set in there for a minute. And some of these I may set aside and try them again if I'm not sure. But we definitely got something off of that. The color is definitely different. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to do that number with it. And we're going to drop it over here. Let's get one that's got a little more. You can see the color of that. Let's go ahead and drop it down in there and just let it go for a minute. So I said this is going to take a long time doing it this way, but I really don't have anything but time right now. I'm waiting on stuff to dissolve. My other chores are done. So we're just going to play it out. I mean, Going to be a slow process, and I could probably do 2 or 3 at a time, which I would probably end up doing. But I'm kind of just wanting you guys to see the change in the Mylar. It's not super drastic because this one's been rinsed, but because there is, you know, something for them to be stuck to. And then I'll do a darker one in a second and show you that. But you can see it's hard to it's really hard to see it on these because I don't know if the camera's going to pick up that slight color change. Let me see if I can find one that's similar. Okay. There's the same one, basically, or a piece of that one. And you can see how it's just like where it's etched. Basically the silver has come off that white, and you just have the etching that's on the plastic itself. So you can see a definite difference. That's telling you that your silver has been removed. Do the same thing. We're just going to continue to do this. And like I said, just for camera purposes right now, I'm doing one at a time. I'll probably put 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever in at a time. I suppose you could avoid cutting them and just roll them up and stick them down in there, but you're not going to get, you know, as good a surface exposure as you are if you cut them up. So guys, I'm going to continue on. Oh, I do want to do you one dark one so you can see how those turn out. Find a darker colored one. There we go. That's not the, that's more of a gray color. And sometimes these fingers will come off and sometimes they won't. It depends. It depends on how much glue is here or whatever. But if they don't come off, I normally just, if they're mine, I just save them and throw them in the burn pile and burn them when I do my laptop ones. We'll try this guy next. And you can tell, see, this one wasn't all the way in. You can definitely see that difference, that little bit of white right there. So he wasn't quite all the way in the acid. So we're just going to hold him under for a second. And you can actually sometimes see little tiny fine bubbles coming off. But that's basically it. That's how you do Mylars. And then at the end, what we're going to do is we will simmer this down or reduce this down to very little bit and then add it to our solution when we're going to drop the silver. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy in. See how he changed instantly over to a dark gray? Some of them will do that. Or black. I'm not sure if that's graphite underneath these that do that or what it is. You know, I don't know if the silver is plated on the graphite or what. But okay guys, so you've got the gist of it and you've seen it. I'm going to continue on for a while doing this so I can pay more attention to what I'm doing than the camera. And we'll get back at you guys in a bit. Okay guys, just popping back in for a minute. I was talking about this earlier. The ones that have these like coatings. If you will look at this, you can see that the silver all here has been removed. The silver here has been removed. But if you look right here, this is between two little sheets of something. I'll see if I can get it apart. If not, that's just gonna okay, that's like that. And this is actually coated over. I'm trying to see if I can get it to come apart. This is what I was talking about, and this is a lot of times what your laptop Mylars, they are sealed, they're stuck together. Somebody said in the comments to boil them. I have never tried that, but I will, to separate them. But anyway, that's the problem. So see that little piece right here, I'm going to have to separate it out because the silver was covered. so therefore it didn't get exposed to the acid. Anyway, I'm going to fiddle with that later, but I just wanted to show you, when you see that, then you know that that Mylar, that part of the Mylar is covered, and you need to get that off of there and expose that to get the silver off of it. Alrighty guys, we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay guys, we're still dissolving our contacts in the background over there and working on these Mylars. We've got quite a few done. I have found a few that will not, I have them set aside over there that are going to have to be burned. They're actually coated, but these you can see are working out just fine. So we still got a bunch more of them to do. We're about halfway done with our dissolve on our contacts. So while we still got daylight, I'm just going to sit out here and do what I'm doing. I just figured I'd give you a quick look. Whoop. Thankfully that was rinse water, but there is a little bit of silver in there, so you want to be careful not to do what I just did. You don't want to splash. There is silver in there. There might not be a lot, but when we get it, you know, reduced down like this, there's going to be some silver in there, and probably there's going to be a touch of silver in this. But you know, how many times can you go through and rinse? It just, you know, sometimes is, I always said there's just some things you got to give up, and that's one of them. If somebody wanted, if they were, you know, wanted to take these and hang on to them till they got like a big tub full of them, I'm sure you could burn them then and process the ash and get a little bit more silver. But I mean, it's all a matter of how much time you have to do it and how much stuff you want to have on hand and how much you want to save. Yeah, there's a trace of silver in here, but I don't believe it's worth the attempt of going after it. This, yes, that's worth going after. This, to me, no. And you don't have to do just one bath. You can do two, you know, or three, or however many you want to do. It's totally up to you. But I found that this is, for what you're going to get out of a second bath of this, it's just not worth the effort and taking the time. Alright guys, I just want to show you where we were. I'm going to just drop a few more of these in right quick. All I'm doing is just dropping several in at a time. Our solution is starting to get a decent amount of silver in it because it is slowing down a little bit. I can actually put I keep some of the ones that I know, I believe they're graphite underneath these, the plating, but I keep a couple of these just to drop them in to see, to watch them turn. That tells me how much, I don't know if you can see that or not, but those will actually turn black, and that, how long it takes for that to go, tells me how saturated our solution is getting. So it's slowing down quite a bit. When I first started, these were turning black almost instantly, and now they take a few seconds. So anyway, we're going to continue on, and we'll get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, just popping in to show you where we're at. We're about halfway through on this the bigger batch of contacts. The tungstens are done. I just tested and put a little bit more nitric in there, and we got no reaction. So our tungstens are done. I just put these oddball ones up here. I'm actually going to put them on a little bit of heat until they finish, and I'm going to do the same with that bigger one. But we're still getting quite a bit of reaction here. I want to show you where we're at with the Mylars. We've got probably about a third of them done. I'm fixing to change these out, and it's starting to get evening time out yonder. So I'm going to continue working, and we'll get back at you in a bit, show you where we're at. These should start going a little bit faster now. I'm trying to go ahead and get them done so I can still be working the Mylars if I need to be while the silver is dropping out of this stuff. So that's where we're at. This is the Mylars that are done, several different kinds. Like I said, I'm not positive, but I think the black ones are actually plated on graphite, you know, that the ones that turn black. The other ones you have to wait a little bit longer till they're not shiny anymore. And that lets you know that the silver is off of them, just like these. They're about ready to come out. So I'll get back at you guys in a bit. Okay guys, we have run out of daylight. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see that. We've got our big one on there. You can't really see it, but I'm going to call it a night. I'm not going to turn my lights on, because if I turn my lights on out here, I'm going to get infested with moths and bugs and everything else. So we'll pick it up again tomorrow. Well, hey everybody, it is the next day. It's actually kind of a halfway nice day. It's been raining on and off all day, but we are still working on our Mylars. Like I said, I was going to work on that stuff while things were filtering. We are filtering. That is our tungsten contacts. These two guys over here are dissolved and ready to go. This was our oddball ones, and then this was our regulars. So I'm going to just continue doing what I'm doing. There's our leftover tungsten, and I will get back at y'all in a bit. We are probably maybe a good third of the way through, maybe a little better than the third of the way through our Mylars. I actually put up here, this is the first rinse water. When I get about a third of them, I change it, change it out to fresh distilled water, and then I start reducing that down. And I'm going to take this way down, and then we will add it naturally back into this, because it does contain silver. So that's where we're at, and I'll get back at y'all in a little while. Okay guys, we are just popping back in for a second. We are still doing our little Mylars. We're still filtering over here. We've got our other two contact refines filtered and waiting to drop up here. Over here I am reducing this rinse water to limit the loss of silver. I change this frequently, and I just evaporate it down, and I will add that when we're going to do our drop. So far we've already probably used about 1,500 mils of, I'd say, distilled water for rinsing, that we've got reduced halfway down now. And another thing I want to point out about this, this part of this refine is basically an experiment. Okay, this is not the way to do the Mylars. But there was such a small amount of them, and the fact that I have not done a video on Mylars, I wanted to see. I've never actually tried to see what you get out of a pound or two of Mylars, because I've never done that little of a quantity at a time. Also, I use my nitric acid or my dilute nitric acid from my Mylars when it's my material to process other things, because it's not spent. In other words, I have not expended all the night, and I won't probably expend all the nitric acid in this little test, but it's a test. I'm actually going into this a little bit because I've had a couple of comments, and other people saying, oh, you're wasting your time, you're doing this. This is an experiment. Okay, it's an experiment. We are doing a test with this. I am doing a test to see what I'm going to get. I'm not doing this. I'm not hour-wise, time-wise that I'm spending doing these Mylars this way. I'm going to be way in the back, but I'm going to have an idea of what, let's say, a pound of Mylars yield. That's why I'm doing this. I do what I do on my channel to, kind of help people who maybe want to learn a little bit or get started in this. Just the way I do it is not necessarily the right way, the wrong way. It's the way I do it. And I have actually had to block and block a few people simply because of the comments they make, and they want to start a fight or an argument or whatever, and I'm not here to do that. That's not what my channel is about. That's not what I'm about. I'm about learning. I like to learn. Every time I do something, I learn, and that's why I'm doing this. If it's a battle or a fight you want, there's no point in doing that here. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish or do. I don't want to argue with anybody. I used to take the time, in fact, I even recently took the time to answer what I consider a comment that was unnecessary, and it was followed by more, just like when I did my little, when I rebuilt that little 22 rifle, and I was criticized and called names and whatever because I own a 22 rifle. Well, I'm not going to go into that. I just briefly wanted to bring that up because this one particular comment, I just blocked it. I'm tired of that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to answer you if you do that, and I'm not going to, I'm just not going to get into that. It's very simple. If you don't like what I'm doing, why are you watching it? And turn the channel. Nobody's holding a gun on you telling you you have to watch what I do, or anybody else on YouTube, or anybody else that makes videos for any format. I mean, this is fun. This is my hobby. This is how I choose, if you want to call it, to waste my time. If you choose to build models, is that a waste of time? If you choose to build golf or play golf, is that a waste of time? If you try to build little ships in a bottle, is that a waste of time? I will waste my time as I see fit. But I just wanted to throw that in because, like I said, I have plenty of people who are interested in what I do. I'm not doing this to make a living. This is not a job. It never has been. It is my hobby. I enjoy doing it. So if you enjoy doing this, or you enjoy doing something else or whatever, that's your business and your time. So anyway, enough of that crap. I just wanted to show you where we're at, and explain a few things. And, hey, I appreciate every one of you. And I have learned quite a bit in the comments and picked up quite a few tips from you guys. Look, anybody who says they can't learn something new shouldn't be doing what they're doing. I learn every day. That's the object of it. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. Our big contacts are just about filtered out. I'm going to refilter that because it's still a little hazy. These bad boys up here are ready to drop. As soon as I get done with this, quote, experiment, we'll see what we got out of this. So I'll get back at you guys in a bit. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I'm not trying to do that. And it's a beautiful day here out in the mountains of North Carolina, and I'm going to continue to sit in my little lab and play. So we'll get back at you guys in just a bit. Okay, everybody, we have got our last bit after our double filtering going for our contacts. This was the larger contacts, the biggest batch. I've already showed you those are up there. We've finished our Mylars. That is our dilute nitric acid bath. This was a rinse water that I have changed several times. We've got about 400 mils left up there to reduce down, and then I'm going to add, this is about 500 mils. I'll add that to it. I'm going to let some gravity do some work for me overnight, let this run down. It's already gathering up down here. We're going to pour that in there, even though I'm convinced we got a good high percentage of our silver, and there's going to be very little, maybe only a trace in here. I'm still going to collect that fluid and reduce it down to add to this when we drop it. We will probably, I don't know exactly where we are in this video right now. It's got to be getting close to 30 minutes. So I'm probably going to go ahead and call this part, even though I said in our next video we would start our, or in the last video I said I would do the, start doing the drops. I just wasn't able to get to it. I had grandkids all week, so I kind of didn't get to work out here. But anyhow, that is what was left of our tungsten, which I've already showed you. So basically we are ready to get to the drop. I'm going to filter this off after I get this and the one up there reduced down. I'm going to filter it off, add it to this, get that all ready to go, and we'll start these drops. I'm probably only going to come back in. I'll come in on the next video just doing the drops and the tally, and we're going to really focus on what we got out of these Mylars. I want to know, because I mean, I've seen a couple estimates and a couple whatever, and I need to know for the simple fact just to see if it's feasible for me to do Mylars as a job refine. I've done them before. I've never done a batch this small. I've always done a lot more, but I've never actually done an accurate, estimation of what you get off of them, because I would take and use the acid, or after I would bath my Mylars, I would use that, finish it up with something else to make sure I spent out my acid. So anyway, I'm going to quit babbling. You guys pretty much know what's going on, so we will see you all in the next video.
I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.